Hey everybody, today I have for you a super fun mat Pilates workout. We're going to be using a set of sliders as our prop. So I have moved my mat out of the way just since I'm on carpet. For me, it's a little bit easier for these guys to slide without my mat. If you are on hard floor, I would recommend having your mat and then just using the sliders on the hard floor, but cushioning up your knees or your hands with the mat. So depending on the exercise, you might have to shuffle around a little bit. Your sliders typically will have a soft side as well as a hard side. So depending on the surface that you're on, you might have to use a different side. For me on the carpet, I'm going to be using the hard side. If you are on hard floor, most likely the soft side down is going to work best. So play around with it. If you don't have a set of these sliders, you can also use paper plates. That's what I did for many years before I got these, and it works really well. If you're on hard floor, you could also use like towels under your feet or your hands to do the sliding instead of the sliders. So there's lots of options. So in some way or another, get something that will slide, and then we're going to dive right in. All right. So come on down to the floor, and we're going to warm up seated. So sit with your feet flat and your knees bent, legs all the way together if that's comfortable. If not, you can separate slightly, and then get so you can sit up nice and tall on your sitting bones. Have a slider underneath each hand. You can kind of have your fingertips on rather than your whole hand. Sit up nice and tall and take a breath in. As you exhale, we're just going to take a fold over our legs. Pull the abs back and glide the arms forward. Get to a nice stretched position for the spine and hold. And we're going to take a few rounds of breath. So inhale through your nose and then exhale out through your mouth. Good. Try that 2 more times. Inhale, really expand into the back of the ribs. Exhale, feel the abs lifting. 1 more time. Nice big inhale. On your final exhale, put some pressure into the fingertips and pull the sliders back as you stack tall. Let's do that again. Inhale in your tall spine. Exhale, really try to press into the sliders as you push them away. Hold in a nice drape over the legs and breathe in and out for 3 rounds. Inhale through your nose. Exhale like you're blowing out a candle. 2 more rounds. Try to relax the neck and the shoulders. 1 more big breath in. And then final exhale. Come right back up to your tall spine. Now, same pattern, but with just a 2 count breath. So inhale at the top. On the exhale, we're going to do 1 fold over the legs. Inhale, sit directly back up. So a little bit more dynamic now. Round and then restack. So the cool thing about these sliders is the more you press into them, the more resistance you're going to get out of them. So you can really play around with how much friction you're putting against the floor. And it really is going to work our stabilizing muscles really well. In this exercise, we're really getting into the muscles around the shoulder. We work more the front of the shoulder as we're pushing out, kind of the back of the shoulder and the armpit as we're pulling back. So it's a nice balanced contraction. Good. 1 more time. Now come up tall. Now turn your fingertips to point backwards. You can open the hands up away from your hips a little bit. Now we're going to slide the discs behind us as we round the spine. So now exhale. It's a half roll back action as you tuck and then you restack up tall. Good. Your hands can go even wider as you press back if you need to accommodate your shoulder mobility. If you send the discs straight back, it's definitely a lot tighter on the shoulders. So I would recommend opening slightly wider. Yes, at the least, maybe more if you need to. Beautiful. So the nice thing here is we do have some support from the arms behind us for the abdominals. So you can play around with really scooping deeply. Maybe your lower back touches or gets close to the floor. Good. Now we're going to combine this together. So sit tall, flip the fingers to point front and fold over the legs. Inhale, sit up, rotate the fingertips back. to roll back. So whatever direction your fingertips are pointing, that's where the body's gonna go. You inhale every time you come tall, exhale every time you round the spine. Now, if your legs are together, like we talked about, you really get some good engagement of those inner thighs. Really helps us to stay a little bit more stable here. Yeah, if your feet are apart, totally fine. You just won't get as much activity through the insides of the legs. Good, let's do a couple more. Try to get maybe a little bit deeper into the C curve, especially on the way back. Good, try to keep the shoulders out of the ears. Let's do a couple more. You can maybe even speed it up too if you really want to get some action going. Whew, now we're warming up. 2 more, scoop. And over, lots of pressure in those hands. Whew, and then come all the way up. Really good, you guys. Now we're gonna go into a single arm variation. So reach one arm forward off of the floor. One arm is gonna stay with the fingertips pointing back. Inhale, sit nice and tall. Now just go into the pure half roll back and then come up to sitting. Same direction, tuck and roll, and then come back up. So a little bit different now. We're a little bit lopsided, right? With the 2 arms doing different things. So it's a little bit trickier on our obliques and our deep core muscles to keep us dead center. So no twisting or leaning off to one side. Beautiful. Good, let's do 2 more like this. Find a really deep tuck and roll of that lower back. Like if you had a long tail, you're trying to tuck it between your legs. Good. Now let's add a rotation to this, not with the lower body, just with the upper body. So legs squeeze tight together. As I roll back, I twist and reach even farther, and then I restack to come tall. So my disc can kind of go on more of a back diagonal and then return. So from my rib cage up, I'm rotating and reaching and then restack. Good. Make sure you're keeping the muscles around that shoulder joint nice and active. So you shouldn't feel like your shoulder is poking forward. It's in a nice kind of stable neutral position as we go back. Let's do a couple more. Yes, the deeper you roll back, the more helpful that squeeze of the legs can be. Let's do 2 more. So look at the hand to roll back. Look at your front hand as you come up. Beautiful. Now roll back and stay. Hold that deep scoop and just do tiny little pulses. Up an inch, down an inch. Breathe through it. Whew, feel those abs firing up for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come all the way up tall. Whew. Very good. All right, you can leave that disc behind and we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So new arm reaches, other hand finds the disc, spin the fingertips to point on the back diagonal. Breathe in to get ready. Exhale, no twisting yet, just purely roll back behind your sitting bones and then stack up tall. So good. So start kind of getting reacclimated on this new side. Beautiful. Always come back to that breath. So we really set the breath up in the warm-up so that we can carry it through the entire class. So sometimes we get away from it or we stop thinking about it. But whenever you get the chance, try to reestablish that nice breath pattern, exhaling through the mouth, inhaling through the nose. Beautiful. Now keep the legs centered, add the twist, looking at that back hand and then up. You should be able to go a little bit farther, yes, by letting that spine, that upper back, mobilize a little extra. We can get slightly more range and up. Beautiful. Try to leave the feet glued to the floor as much as you can. That's it. Let's do 3 more like this and then we'll add our pulses. 2. Good, you guys. Last one. Hold it and stay. Little pulses up and down. Good. With every pulse, try to deepen that tuck and scoop of your lower back. 3, 2, 1, and then stack everything back up tall. Fabulous job. All right, we are now going to take the sliders out from our hands and put them under our heels instead, and then come down onto your back. Okay, So now we get the resistance more for the lower body, which is exciting. So come down, get your spine to a nice neutral position. Now I like to really dig my heels, the really point of my heel into the disc rather than my whole foot. I find it's easier to keep a hold of them, okay? And on occasion, you might kind of lose the disc out from under your foot if you're not really pushing and grounding into the floor. So if that happens, just grab it and start over, okay? But by really pressurizing down, that shouldn't happen too much, okay? So let's just tuck and tilt our pelvis a couple times till we kind of feel out where our neutral is today. So tuck your tail under and then stick it away from you. Good. So legs are hip width apart, heels are really digging into your discs, toes are up off of the floor. Now find your neutral and keep it. Arms are going to press down into the mat next to you. On an inhale, I want you to dig hard with one heel and slide the leg away from you on the mat without losing the stability of your pelvis and spine. Now exhale, push even harder with your heel to pull the leg back. Now do the other side. Inhale, really move slow here while you kind of get used to how this feels with the sliders under your feet. Yeah, if you lose that connection into the ground, that's when we might slip and lose the disc. Beautiful. Good, you guys. So with this smooth gliding action, it really gives us a nice chance to connect to these muscles deeply. We're not having to disengage. We get this constant, nice pressure. Beautiful. As you pull the leg back on that exhale, feel a nice deep connection through those abdominals. Good. Let's do that a couple more times. We're really working at the backs of the legs, the glutes, and the hamstrings especially. Very good. Okay, now let's do a couple more of these, and I want you to reach your arms up to the ceiling. So now we don't have the hands pressing into the mat to help us, so a little bit less connection to the floor. Good. Now maybe even tip your arms behind you on a diagonal, not so far that your ribs pop, just a little bit of extra distance between the arms and the body. Very good. All right, now we're going to add some abdominals onto this. So as you slide one leg forward, I want you to reach your fingertips to the ceiling, nod your chin, and lift your head, neck, and shoulders off of the mat. As the knee bends, you lay back and return the arms on the diagonal. Other side. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale to curl up and off. Inhale as you start to lay back down. Exhale as you fully return. Good, you guys. Do that a couple more times. So your lower back is staying neutral with the slight curve. Your upper spine is flexing. Those shoulder blades widen apart from each other. Good. Almost imagine like if you were doing this in a sandbox or like a dirt pile, you could really dig trenches into the dirt with your feet. That's how much pressure we're talking about. All right, now you're welcome to stick with this version here, just working on the upper spine flexion, or we're going to try to take this into a full roll up. So let's give that a try. Take your time. Inhale, lift the arms as you slide the leg away. Exhale, keep rounding beyond that upper back. Fully fold up and over the legs. Both discs might slide forward just a little bit to accommodate you. And then you're going to roll back down onto your back, bend the knee, and replace the head to the mat. Other side. I slide the disc away as I nod my chin. I fold up and over. Now for me, even this disc of my bent leg is moving forward a little bit, but my knee is staying bent. And then we return back down, and then both knees bend. Good. Let's keep flowing with that. Inhale. Exhale. You imprint your spine to help you leave the mat. On the way back down, you imprint again. Lower back hits the floor. Then you find neutral at the bottom. Couple more times. 1. Round up and over. 2. Keep going. Beautiful. 3. And then 4. We find our way back on the mat. Good. Let's do one more time on either side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, start to roll back. Beautiful. Exhale, as much pressure as you can muster into the ground. Up and over. Beautiful. Back to the ground. Nice, you guys. All right. Now we're going to try a double leg reach. So keep the arms back behind you. Inhale, you're going to slide both legs out to straight. Exhale as you pull the heels back in. Now this is definitely tricky. Keep the abs nice and strong. Keep your ribs pulling down. Good. Now if when you straighten your legs fully, if you're kind of losing the discs, you can stop a little sooner. So you can go till your legs are almost fully straight if you're having trouble at that very end range. Sometimes it's easy to lose the discs out there. So I'd rather have you keep the deep pressure for just as long as you can and then pull back. All right, now let's add just the upper spine to this. So kind of an ab prep position. We lift the arms to the ceiling. As my legs get straight, I fold my shoulder blades off. I roll back down and return to the mat. Inhale to start. Exhale, nod the chin, curl up. There should still be a slight gap between the lower back and the mat, and then replace. Good. If you're just smushing your lower back to the mat here, you're losing a lot of the good connection to your deepest ab muscles. So try to keep the lower back curve, find an upper back rounding. Beautiful. Now either stick with this or we're going to go into the full exercise. Here we go. So we get to that same position. Now is when we imprint to go all the way up and forward. The discs keep traveling, get to a nice stretched over position, and then we reverse. Inhale, start to roll back. Exhale, uncurl the spine and flex the knees. Inhale. Exhale. Now the hard part is keeping pressure into the discs the whole time. Sometimes when we start to get over the legs, we lose the glute connection. So this is a really good way to practice that. So as I leave the mat, I try to push into the discs harder. Try not to take any of the pressure off. It's harder than you think. If you just rush through it and go willy-nilly, you lose a lot of that connection to the glutes. So be strict with yourself and go super slow and release. Good. Let's do this 2 more times. The roll-up is a super complex exercise. So work on it at whatever level is working for you today, even if it's just the upper back portion. Beautiful. All right, lay yourself fully down to the mat and relax. Awesome, you guys. All right, now we're going to go into a quick little bridging series here, still with our heels onto the discs. Arms can come back down. Legs are hip width apart. We're going to breathe in to get ready in our nice neutral spine. You can let your toes rest on the floor now. Your shins are probably tight from flexing so long. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, don't move the discs, just tuck and roll through a nice imprint to roll your hips to the sky. Inhale and hold. Exhale, articulate and melt through the spine to reverse. And then inhale as you find your neutral. Do that a couple more times. We're really opening up the front of the hips and the hip flexors, which we really worked in the last exercise. So kind of bringing some balance, finding some length and stretch through the thighs. Hold it and stay, and then release and roll down. Beautiful. Let's do this 3 more times. So the discs stay put. You really ground the heels into the floor and then lower. Beautiful. 2 more times. Scoop under. Put some pressure down into the floor with your hands. Ooh, so good. 2 more. I lost count. I think 2 more. 2 more sounds good. Roll up and then roll down. Beautiful. Last time. All right, now instead of articulating and taking 4 counts, we're just going to keep the back neutral and do this exercise in 2 counts. So just a simple bridge, no rolling. Inhale, get ready. Exhale, you're just going to drive the hips up, keep the spine in one solid piece, and then lower the tail down. Do that again. Press and lower. Good. Drive and sit. Good. Exhale and inhale. So the space between your ribs and your hips is staying the same. The moving joint is the hips. Yeah, getting nice and long and open. Beautiful. Let's do 4 more. Last 3. So good. 2 more. On your final one, hold at the top of your bridge and stay. Now I want you to lift the toes of one foot off of the ground. Slowly slide one leg to straight as you set the tailbone down. Now bend the knee as you lift back up into your bridge. Now do the other side. Slide away, my leg arrives straight by the time my tail touches, and then I bend my knee and lift up both hips evenly. Good, so now we're getting some hamstring curl action for the sliding leg. Beautiful. Inhale as I lay out long. Exhale to pull yourself back. This one's a really easy one to lose the disc before you pull the leg back in, so really keep the pressure out and then in. Slow down as much as you need to be in control. That's it. The hip bones on either side should be perfectly level all throughout. So good, you guys. Let's do 4 more. And down. So good. 3. That's it. 2 more. Lift. And then last one. Pause at the top. Now set your tailbone down and take a rest. Whew. All right, we're going to do one more set of those, and we're going to add on some reciprocal action of the arms. So the opposite arm, as the leg that's sliding, is going to reach overhead. It's almost like an upside down bird dog kind of situation. So let's press up into our bridge. Exhale. Now on an inhale, whichever leg you're sliding out, the opposite arm is going to drift overhead. It arrives at the same time as the leg getting long, and then I pull back to my bridge and replace the hand down. Other side. Inhale, opposite arm, opposite leg, and then return, and I push all 4 points into the mat. Yes, so I leave 2 points, one hand and one foot behind to keep all the pressure, and then you re-engage all 4 on the return. Yeah, so there's all this nice pressure and kind of ground force that you're driving into the floor. Beautiful. If you find you can speed this up without skipping any movements or losing any control, you are absolutely welcome to, but you decide if you want to keep it more slow or go for a little bit of speed. We'll do 6 more. Whew. 5. So good. Keep those ribs connected. 4. Last 3. Oh, the hammies are feeling it too. And last one, pause in your best and final bridge, lift even higher, and then touch the tail back to the mat. Whew. Fabulous, you guys. All right, we are going to go into some more ab work here. We're going to be just sliding a single disc out and in. So do your best to stay neutral in your lower back. If you find you're losing control, you can go into more of an imprinted position. So I want you to lift one leg up to tabletop. You're going to take your hands behind your head and curl your upper body into a nice crunched position. Now, I want you to keep lots of pressure with this heel into the disc and just start sliding it out and in. So just a single leg press. Yes, with lots of action into that glute and hamstring, just like we've been practicing. But now we have all the added action for the core with what's going on in the rest of the body. Beautiful. Now to this, we're going to add a bicycle action of the opposite leg. So I extend my free leg forward and then I switch. They go in opposition. At any point, you can rest the head and shoulders down if you need to modify. Good. Now I would recommend starting out quite slow and really focusing on keeping the pressure. Good. Now, when your lifted leg is straight, I want you to lay back towards the floor, and then as you bend that free leg to tabletop, crunch up towards it. So I lay back as I extend the floating leg. I crunch up as I bend it. Inhale to lay back. Exhale to curl up without lessening up on that pressure on the disc, which is a lot to ask. Beautiful. All right, now we're going to add on to this. When I crunch up, we're going to rotate across opposite elbow to opposite knee. Inhale, lay back. Crunch across. Inhale, lay back. So good. Try not to let those ribs pop or disconnect. Beautiful. All right, final thing here. Crunch up. You're going to keep your head and shoulders lifted and just alternate. Twist to both sides. So you're always twisting towards the bent knee. They're just doing a little bit of different things, whichever one's bent. That's where we go. Good. 3, 2, 1, and then you can lay down and relax. Whew, so much work, you guys. Good. Okay, let's do that on the opposite side. So find your new disc, lift the opposite leg up, Find your nice neutral. Hands to the head to curl you up. All right, simple. We start with the bottom leg, reaching and then pulling. Oops, see, almost lost my disc there for a second. Out and in. It happens to the best of us. Reach and in. So good. Slow motion, like you're moving through honey, nice and controlled. All right, next layer is the bicycle. One straight leg, one bent leg. One stretched, one bent. Keep those ribs nice and drawn down. Beautiful. Get the top of those shoulder blades to stay curled up. All right. Now, when my floating leg is straight, that's when we're going to lay back to the floor. Breathe in. When we bend that free leg, we crunch towards it. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Chin lifted, neck long. Good. Lay back and crunch. So good. Next layer is to twist just towards the floating leg at the top. Lay back through center. Crunch across and center. Good. Crunch and center. Very good, you guys. Twist and center. Now, final challenge is to keep the shoulder blades up and just switch, switch, switch. Keep pressing hard. So good. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lay your body down and rest. Whew. Fantastic, you guys. All right, come on up. We are going to lay on our stomachs and do a quick prone series to work on our back. So come on down to your stomach. You're going to have your hands on top of the discs. Legs are about hip width apart and slightly turned out. Arms are reaching out in front of you in kind of a V, so shoulder width, if not slightly wider for your comfort. Now, push the tops of the feet heavy into the floor. Lift your abs up and in, and really feel lots of pressure into kind of 5 points. So your 2 hands, your 2 feet, and your pubic bone are all pushing into the ground. Now, all I want you to do is keep your back long. Your nose is hovering off the floor. All I want you to do is shrug your shoulder blades up and down a couple of times. So you're going to glide forward and back. And I just want you to get that sensation, yes, of that shoulder blade action, sliding and gliding across the ribs. Beautiful. All right. Now I want you to find kind of a happy medium neutral between those 2 places. As you inhale, you're going to lift up into a slight upper back extension and pull the shoulder blades down and in, and then widen back to that neutral starting position. So inhale, my shoulder blades come together and down along my back to help me lift. And then we lower down. Good. So let's just keep this small at first. Just the upper back. Your lowest ribs will stay on the floor. Good. But the heavier you press into these discs, you're really going to feel some good action for the shoulder muscles working. Beautiful. Last one. Awesome, you guys. All right, now bring the discs down by your hips with your palms facing the floor. We're going to do a similar thing just with the arms by our sides. So do a couple of shrugs here. So put as much pressure into the floor as you can and then slide the shoulders up and down, up and down. Try to squeeze your thighs, kneecaps off of the floor. Beautiful. Now, pause in a neutral, so not too high, not too low. As you breathe in, you're going to press those shoulders down and then return to kind of a neutral shoulder blade to lower the body. So scaps are moving in that same direction of in and down, and then kind of back to a neutral. Good. Up and then down. Now, most likely, you won't be able to lift quite as high with the arms in this position. So really focus on the pressure of the hands, and you'll feel some super good work for those lats as you lift and squeeze for 3. Good, you guys. Last 2, lift. And last one. Whew, that one is not easy. All right, leave one arm by your hip and reach one arm back forward. Now we're going to do a combination of the 2. So exhale to get ready. Inhale, you're going to slide up with one arm back, one arm forward, and then return. Your front disc is most likely going to move a lot more than your back disc. That's okay. Up and then down. But see if you can push equally hard into the floor with both. Lift both shoulders equally off of the ground. And again, just keep this in your upper back. Ribs stay nice and heavy. Let's do 2 more. It's not so easy to manage those 2 different arm positions. 1. Good. Let's do that on the other side. Here we go. 1 arm front, 1 arm back. Start in a long spine. And then here we go. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Sliding those discs back and forth. Feel that shoulder blade action as you extend the spine. Good. So much good work for the back. 2. And last one. Whew. Amazing. All right, take both arms out in front of you again. Start in your nice long spine. Now, if you feel comfortable, we're going to go for a full spinal extension. So meaning your ribs are going to come off the floor. It's up to you how big that is. So listen to your body. Here we go. Wider feet if you need to help accommodate that position. So on an inhale, you're going to lift up just like we did, but come up higher. So the low belly might leave the floor, and then we return. So the pressure of those hands becomes even more important. And then we lower down. Tons of action through the glutes, which we worked a whole bunch in those prior exercises. So they should be nice and warm and ready to help us. Beautiful. Lift and lower. Try not to just crease in the lower back. Try to lift your belly up first and then evenly extend. Beautiful. Last time. Up and then down. Whew. All right, you guys, last thing here. Now we're going to go into that 1 arm front, 1 arm back action in our full spinal extension. To get there, we're going to use a bend of the elbow to reach back, a bend of the elbow to come forward. All right, so it's going to be as big of a lift as you can. You can start kind of medium and then build up from there. So we're going to lift up just like we did. As I start to lift, I'm going to bend 1 elbow. As I continue lifting, I spin my fingertips back and reach the hand next to my hip. To reverse, I bend and slide back to the floor. Other side. Bend the opposite arm to lift. Bend it to slide through. Good. So we're arriving in that kind of split positioning of the arms. We're traveling through to get there. Good. Feels really nice to add that little rotation into our big extension. If it doesn't feel good to you, keep it smaller or go back to the 2 arms, staying on the mat. Good, you guys. Let's do 2 more. Up and down. So beautiful. Last one. And then come all the way down. All right, push back. Sit on your heels in a quick shell stretch. Tuck your tail under. Whew. So nice. All right, let's come on to all fours now. And we're going to have the discs under the balls of our feet. So kind of a new position here. If you need to do this on your forearms, you can play around with that if your wrists are getting tired. Like we talked about, if you're doing this on hard floor, I'd recommend having your mat under your knees and your hands, and then the discs on the solid ground. All right, so get to your nice all fours position. You're gonna find your back in a nice long line, and then let's just take a couple of simple leg slides here in this position. So you're gonna inhale to slide out, exhale to slide in. Yeah, so I really like doing that exhale on the way in, really pressurizing down even more, feeling those abs connect to pull the leg back in. Now you want to hold your neutral spine the entire time. So we're loading up our abs in this nice neutral position. Good. And again, dig those deep trenches in both directions. You don't want light kind of wussy pressure into the floor. Good. So this is very similar to the slides we did on our back, but it feels totally different. Now it's tons of core and even more into the quads. Good. All right. Now pause with both knees bent and just take a couple of hovers of both knees and then lightly touch down. Hover up and then lightly touch down. The less you lift, the harder this is, if you can believe it. So you almost want to get your shins kind of parallel to the ground and then replace. parallel, and then replace. Good, you guys. Lift and lower. Let's do 2 more. Widen those shoulder blades apart. Last one. All right, now we're going to combine those 2 actions together. So we're going to start with a leg slide out. 1. On the exhale, keep your feet how they are and just hover your bent knee up a few inches, maybe less. Touch the knee down. With pressure, pull that disc back in. Other side, slow motion. Inhale. Now exhale, leave the discs where they are. Hover. Inhale, replace the knee. Exhale, pressurize to come back. Few more times. 1, keep the limbs as is. Hover, touch down, slow motion, replace. So good, you guys. The discs really tell us if we're being mindful or not. Yeah, if we're just rushing through this, we're going to lose so much good connection. Up and down. Beautiful. Couple more times, and then as I'm sure you can believe, we're going to add on. So let's do 2 more like this. Hover up, push equally into both feet. Beautiful. All right, the next time we hover up, we're going to stay. Your bent leg is going to stay the same in the hover, and you're just going to continually bend and stretch the opposite leg in and out. And I want you to go slow and make the deepest ditches in the floor that you can. Whoo, you should be shaking. In and out. 1 more. And out. Now pause with the leg straight. Touch down. Switch sides. Here we go. Send the new leg out and hold. Hover up. Now just the straight leg is going to be the mover. In and out. The bent leg stays the same. Push. Good. In and out. So good. Ooh, those thighs are burning. Good. Let's do 2 more. In, out. 1 more. In, out. Now bend the knee. Set them down. Tuck your toes under, sit back, and drop your chest to the floor. Ooh, good. Breathe in and out. So nice, you guys. Oh. All right, to finish, we are going to sit and take a little mermaid stretch. So just take one of your discs, sit mermaid style if that's comfortable, with kind of an S shape in your legs. Whichever leg is directly in front, set the disc off to that side, place the hand on it. Other arm is going to open. You're going to inhale to lift this free arm to the ceiling, and then exhale slow with lots of pressure into the disc, side bend over. Eventually your elbows should be able to hit the floor. Find a nice length through the ribs. Now slow motion, push into the disc and pull it back till you're tall. And then again, so even though we're stretching, this is still an exercise if you're really digging into the floor on that bottom side. Good. Raise the arm up and then bring the body tall. Good, you guys. 2 more times. Inhale, sink to the floor. Exhale, come up. Inhale, return. Exhale. 1 more time. Now come up and stay, grab onto your shin and pull yourself to the opposite side, and then just go ahead and turn your head to look at the floor and then the ceiling. Floor and then the ceiling. Good. Try to release any tension going on in the neck. Look down towards the floor and then sit all the way up. Beautiful. All right, other side. So swing the legs across. Put your new hand on the disc. Other arm open. Here we go. Inhale as we start to lean. Lots of pressure into the floor as we exhale and place the elbow down. Almost try to puff this top side of your ribs to the ceiling. Inhale, start to come up. Exhale, reset. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, exhale. Good. 2 more times. So heavy into the floor. Stretch. Back up tall and replace. 1 more time. Lift and over. Good. This time as we come up, grab with your free hand, pull to the opposite side, and then just look up. And then look down. Gentle swivel to the head. Don't try to muscle it. Whew, just kind of like a bobblehead on your dashboard. Let your head gently spin. And then look at the floor and come all the way up. Whew. Amazing, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed today's class using the sliders. This is the first time that I've used these on the channel, so I really hope you liked it. If you did, please let me know in the comments below if you want to see more workouts using these. These are so versatile and I really love them. So thank you again for being here, and I can't wait to see you back here with me very, very soon. So bye-bye.